So are you looking to buy a new home in the new year? Well, home sales dropped last month as mortgage rates continued to rise. Some analysts blaming the slump on higher prices and a limited supply of homes on the market. So what does it all mean for prospective buyers in the new year? Joining me now to talk about this, real estate broker Katrina Campins. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so lots of new economic data on home sales. Sales down as interest rates are rising. Where are you seeing the most weakness?
Well, many economists are blaming this slight decline that you mentioned in the pending home sales index on low supply, higher prices, and an increase in mortgage rates. But I think it's important to note that it still is above the 100 mark in the index, meaning that homes are going to contract faster than they were in 2011. So it's just been a slight drop. I think it's also important to note that this was right before one of the most controversial elections in our lifetime. Sure. So many buyers were waiting on the sidelines to see what transpired. The key to housing are jobs and better wages, which forms household formation and drives home ownership. And that's something that President-elect Trump plans to do in 2017. I think also his plans to reform taxes are also going to help the American buyers because they're going to have more money to spend on housing moving forward. So I'm very bullish.
And there's been a lot of talk about the middle class this year, of course. So how much will higher mortgage rates hurt that subset, the middle class buyers?
Well, I think if interest rates stay around the 4% mark or less, then they'll be neutralized by the increase in jobs. It's slated that we're supposed to have 2 million jobs in 2017, 2 million more jobs and better wages. So the partial, it'll be neutralized partially with the increase in wages for the middle class. And I think the middle class has generally increased and gained a lot of their wealth through home ownership, and that's something that President-elect Trump wants to help do. He's going to improve the economy, and as long as interest rates stay among, the 4% mark, I think that the American people will be very happy, and everybody's very confident moving forward into 2017.
I don't know about you. I love watching all those shows about flipping homes. We've seen reporting from the Wall Street Journal that house flipping is at the highest level since 2007, but we've also seen reports that suggest the high-end market for housing is softening. What are you seeing?
Yeah. Well, my focus is actually the luxury real estate market, and I have seen it soften a little bit. There's a little bit more supply in that niche of the market, but if things are priced well, then they're still moving. It's important to note that most of those buyers are cash buyers, so they're not really as affected by the mortgage rates. But, here in South Florida, for instance, and I sell all around the country, but in South Florida, we have seen the luxury market slow down a little bit, especially right before the election. But I have to say that right after the election, the confidence of buyers has definitely increased. I have a lot of buyers coming from overseas market wanting to put their money in the United States. A lot of people from the Northeast who can't tolerate the snow any longer during the winter months are coming down to South Florida and spending a lot more time in Florida.
Yeah,
so overall. Yeah.
I did an interview recently with Vanilla Ice, the rapper. That's what he does now. He flips houses right where you are. You probably have seen some of his work. So it's an interesting
We have
time.
a lot of mutual friends in common, and I heard he's loving flipping homes. That's how I started in the industry as well. So
that's fun.
It's a fun aspect, yeah.
All right, Katrina Campins, we'll look for you in the new year. Thank you so much.